And hello, my little mathematicians. Today we're going to explore the order of operations. And to help us with that, we're going to use this little abbreviation of Pemdas. Sometimes you'll hear it called GEMDAS. GEMDAS is the same thing as PEMDAS. What that means is it tells us the order of which we should do things. So P stands for parentheses. And the reason that now it's been changed on some worksheets from PEMDAS to GEMDAS is because it doesn't just mean parentheses. It means any type of grouping symbol, like a bracket or one of those weird squiggly things. You do everything inside the parentheses or grouping symbols first. Okay, so whether it's PEMDAS or GEMDAS, same thing. The E stands for exponents. So you want to do the exponents next. So like 4 squared or 3 to the 5th. So if this was being squared, you'd want to do that first. I would take care of this cubing before I subtracted it from the 40. Okay, so I'd go 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, and then 40 minus 8. M and D stand for multiply and divide. Here's the tricky part though. You don't always multiply before you divide. It's you multiply or divide before you add and subtract. But when deciding between multiplying and dividing, you go from left to right. So multiplication doesn't necessarily always come first. It's whatever came first when reading from left to right. So left to right, just like you read a sentence. Sometimes you'll see multiplication symbols that look like, just an X or a dot. You'll see that little star. Or you could have 4 parentheses and a 2 inside the parentheses. That would be 4 times 2. Okay, so all of these are multiplication symbols. Division symbols, it's either the division sign or you'll see it written as a fraction, and it's the top divided by the bottom number. Okay, and then finally, the last thing you do is you add or subtract stuff. And again, you don't necessarily always add before you subtract. You go from left to right. So whatever comes first is what you do first. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to go ahead and copy that down at the top right here. All right, and now that you have unpaused the video and you're back with us, let's go ahead and try to actually solve some of these. Okay, so for the first one, I'm going to look for any parentheses. Do you see any parentheses? Yes, I do, right here. I'm going to simplify the things inside of those. 8 plus 2 is 10. Bring everything else down around it. Okay. And then do you see any parentheses? Nope, they're all gone. Do you see any exponents? Nope. Multiplication or division? Yep, right here. 4 times 10 is 40. Minus 13, bring that down. And each time, like now you're ignoring the line above it because I simplified the 4 times 10 to become that 40. Now I'm just left with 40 minus 13. So let's go ahead and simplify that out. Do any scratch work off to the side. 10 minus 3 is 7. 3 minus 1 is 2. So my final answer is 27. Okay. Now, of course, you're always free to pause the video, try it yourself, and then unpause it to check yourself. Okay. So if we try the second example here, I want to simplify the thing on top of the fraction first. So what is this 14 minus 8? 14 minus 8 is 6 over 2 times 7. Okay, so now I need to simplify this fraction, 6 divided by 2, because that's what a fraction is. You're essentially just dividing the top divided by the bottom. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now you have 3 times 7. Well, 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, if you got that one right, congratulations. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. The next one says inside of the parentheses, okay, so parentheses first, 7 minus 3 is 4. Now bring everything else down. Those are now gone, but the parentheses with the squared is there and divided by 8. Okay. Parentheses, you're like, well, there's parentheses here, but technically it means like simplifying something within parentheses down to a singular number. Okay, so we did that. Now I'm going to look for exponents. Haha, right here. 4 squared is not 4 times 2. It's 4 times itself 2 times. So 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, so that simplifies to 16 divided by 8. Well, what is 16 divided by 8? 2. And there you go. You just solved that one correctly. Okay, the next one, look for parentheses. Yep, I can simplify that. 2 plus 3 is 5. Bring everything else down. And then simplify any exponents that you see. Well, 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. And I know it's silly to like write it out, but you'd be amazed at so many times I see people just write 10 here. But if you see it written, you're less likely to put a 10 and you'll see, oh yeah, 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, and then over here, that's 4 times 4. Well, 4 times 4 is 16. So that gets replaced with a 16, and there was a minus sign between there. So the 5 squared is replaced with 25. The 4 squared is replaced with 16. Now you just have 25 minus 16. So let's go ahead and simplify that. And need to borrow. 15 minus 6 is 9. 1 minus 1 is 0. So that simplifies to 9. All right. Our third set of examples. Okay, do you see any parentheses? No. Do you see any exponents? No. Any multiplication or division? Yes, start from left to right. You see this first. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. Bring down the plus 9 and that minus and 7 there. Because the 10 and 2, those got replaced with the 5. And that's why I think it's really helpful to write those little caret things here, because it helps you see those combine into that number right there, and everything else gets brought down. Okay, now this is all I have to focus on. It's helpful to rewrite it each time, because otherwise people either do steps multiple times, like they end up adding something twice or subtracting something twice or multiplying something twice, or they forget something. Okay, so it's really important that we write it down each time. All right. There's no more multiplication or division. Now I'm moving on to adding and subtracting from left to right. You don't necessarily always add before you subtract. So I do that first. 7 minus 5 is 2. Bring down your plus 9. 2 plus 9 is 11. All right, and our final question. Okay, any parentheses? No. Any exponents? Yes. 2 to the second power is 2 times 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, but bring down the plus 7, that divided by 3 times an 8. Okay, no parentheses, no exponents, multiplication or division. Yes, go from left to right. So 8 times 3 is 24. That got replaced, the 8 and the 3 got replaced with this. Bring down the divided by 4 and the plus 7. 24 divided by 4 is 6. And 6 plus 7 is 13. If you got all those right, if you were pausing the video and then unpausing it and checking yourself and you got them all right, congratulations, you have now mastered the order of operations.